Hello. This is my review on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and it's from 2018, and the sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. With Miles Morales as Spider-Man, and these are the cartoon Spider-Man movies with Miles Morales character. I give both of these a 10 out of 10, even because I loved every moment of both movies. I give both movies a 10 out of 10. Now, I'm going to talk about both movies around the same time I talk about one over the other, because the stories with both movies are very connected. The events of the first movie could build on each other with the sequel, with Miles' origin story, and there's a twist in the end of the sequel where we find out within Miles' origin story, the spider that bit Miles gave him his powers didn't really came from his dimension. It came from a different dimension that was supposed to bite Spider-Man. Just not Miles. That was going to become Spider-Man. At least not the Miles we've been following. And in these movies, you know, and then Miles meets up with, at the end, different Miles from a different universe that became the Prowler in this universe, and it ends on a cliffhanger with that. It's a Spider-Verse Across Spider-Verse ends on a cliffhanger. If a big wondering what's happening next, because it doesn't look like Miles is in it looks like Miles is in the main character for Miles is in a bit of trouble with, and also doesn't know how to get back home. It was the same. So and ends on a really good cliffhanger. The whole movie was Across the Spider-Verse with really high stakes, and those high stakes don't get resolved ever, and don't get answer on those high stakes on what's going to happen next. But you're just left like wondering on the back of your head on what's going to happen next. What's the third installment? If the third installment happens, or is that going to get canceled? Like The Amazing Spider-Man 3 got canceled. That I was kind of looking forward to. With Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, I was kind of looking forward to, be honest, I was kind of looking forward to The Amazing Spider-Man 3. More than, before it got canceled, and so I wonder, I like I like Miles movies a lot more than Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies. But my point still stands. I don't know, with this movie, the third installment haven't come out yet. And the sequel came out in 2023, I think. Or 22. Or 21 or something like that. Alright. And that was a while ago. And it's the third one, Beyond the Spider-Verse, is supposed to be titled Beyond the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. I don't know if it's not going to be the real title or the working title. But I want to see the third one so much. But I don't know if it's going to happen or if it's going to get canceled or what. What's up in the air with that movie. But yeah, so if this third one does get canceled, that's going to be a bit of a bummer for me. But it was a nice It was a nice movie run lived for a short period of time, for a short period of short-lived of a movie franchise. That was awesome. If there isn't a third one, it's going to be a bummer for me, because I really liked the first two Spider-Verse movies, Across and Into. I give both a 10 out of 10. I think they're both great stories about Miles Morales being Spider-Man. Personally, I like the sequel more, even though it does have more problems. I like the sequel more, but it does have more problems with the story because, well, when you bring in the Spy Society and bring up all this mythology with past Spider-Mans, and none of them have a Miles Morales. None of them are variants of Miles, and Miles that we follow along in this movie is a radically different origin story than the Miles that's in the comic that this movie is based around and taking inspiration from. See, the Miles Morales in the comic that this movie, that this Spider-Man is based on, has a radically different origin story than Miles in the comic book Miles, and this Miles has a radically different origin story. See, this Miles in the Spider-Verse movie, what does interesting is that basically saying this Miles wasn't meant to become Spider-Man. The spider that bit him, because it didn't come from his dimension. And Spider-Man originally wasn't supposed to even save Miles. So originally he probably was going to be a civilian casualty that Spider-Man couldn't save because he had to take care of the Goliath since the 6. So, it's kind of implied in the events of Across the Spider-Verse by O'Hara, Spider-Man from 2099. And, also, and like, it was just kind of a little, different from Miles' origin story in the comic book, because in the Ultimate Comics, in the Miles in the comic book, has a different origin story. Like, for example, he did got bit by a spider, but it came from his dimension, not from a different dimension in the comics. It came from his dimension, it came from his Earth, and it came from Oscorp because of science. And that's how Miles in the comic got his powers. He didn't took up the mantle of Spider-Man right away, I guess. For some story reasons, explain the comics better than what I could explain in this video. So, just look at the Miles Morales Ultimate Comics. If you're curious on the origin story about Miles Morales from the comics, look at the Ultimate Comics with Miles Morales from the old Ultimate Universe by Marvel Comics. And there's an omnibus you can get of Miles, of Ultimate Miles from the comic book if you want to check those comics out. Those are, I checked at least one of the, I thought the artwork in the Miles stories has some great artwork, you know? Anyway, so I enjoy both Spider-Man movies with Miles Morales, Into and Across the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales Spider-Man. I give them both a 10 out of 10, even though I wouldn't have gone with the Spider Cult, known as the Spider Society, for the sequel. I wouldn't have brought them in the sequel. Wouldn't have even introduced the idea, because I thought that whole idea just raises too many questions. But I still enjoy the movie. It just raises too many questions of a fan of what the knowledge I know of Miles Morales, comic book knowledge. Just the little of Miles Morales comic book knowledge I have absorbed. It just confuses me a little bit of why did they made Spider-Man Miles an anomaly for the plot of the story instead of making him like I'm not questioning. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just think it's like raises some questions when you introduce all the other mythology of Spider-Man, like from past when you introduce a bunch of other past iterations of Spider-Man that we've seen with Peter Parker Spider-Man in the past, like that, and like Andrew Garfield's Maguire, like Andrew Garfield makes a cameo, and if that's the case, then so does Maguire and Andrew exist in this timeline also. If Andrews exists and makes a cameo on this, so and the whole Spy Society is kind of was getting all kind of cultist vibes, like. I mean, the Spy Society is basically, it gives off cultist vibes, like a cult. Spy Society in the sequel, so I still enjoy this movie, and yeah, that's the only one thing I would have changed is not to introduce the Spy Society. But then again, I wouldn't have killed off Spider-Man in the first Spider-Man movie with Miles Morales. That was played by Chris Pine, or Chris Pratt, or Chris Pine, or I forget the actor's name. He played Captain Kirk in the Star Trek trilogy that J.J. Abrams directed. I forget what his actor's name is, okay? He did a good job as Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, before they killed him off. I wish they just didn't kill him off, so that we still had a good. Still had him to say some lines of Spider-Man, because I thought his Spider-Man was the best part of his career. I think the Spider-Man he played was the best performance he gave in his career. I just wish he had more lines, as his Peter Parker, and more involved with the story was the first one. But it's interesting how the sequel kind of expands on the character of Peter Parker's character from the first one that they killed off. That Miles actually allies from his Earth. And it is kind of interesting how this movie kind of builds on his character by basically mentioning him and bringing him into the into the story by mentioning him a few times by O'Hara, Spider-Man from 2099. So that was cool when he was explaining to Miles that he's a anomaly, he's not supposed to be Spider-Man. Him becoming Spider-Man was just a freak accident. That happened good. This is a freak accident, but he's not supposed to be Spider-Man, so and the reason why these in the thing What was I going to say? What was I going to say? Fuck. And I love all this movie. And that's why I give both Spider-Man movies with Miles Morales Spider-Man 10 out of 10. Both Spider-Man movies with Miles. The first one is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I give that a 10 out of 10. The sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I give that a 10 out of 10. And I own both of them on Blu-rays. Both movies on physical media. I own them on Blu-rays thanks to my daddy. Has gotten me them, and I'm glad I own those in my Blu-ray, my physical media collection. Those movies, those Spider-Man movies. Now I just wish we could get a Peter Parker Spider-Man movie that was just as good as the Miles movies. I really want a Peter Parker animated franchise. Was made with the style of the Spider-Verse movies. But takes place in a completely separate continuity. Or maybe they could do in the same continuity if it was Miles. But I just think it would be cool to, like, if they ever did a Peter Parker Spider-Man animated trilogy with Peter Parker Spider-Man. I don't know what age they want to make him, but I don't care if they want to make him on the young side or the older side, but if they want to make him in his rookie years, like a kid, or more experienced, like an adult in adult years, or whatever it is, I wanted to see it happen, and I want it to be good as the Miles movies, no matter what age they make him. If it does happen with Peter Parker Spider-Man. And I will enjoy the fuck out of it and praise the fuck out of it. It's everything I want and more for a Spider-Man movie that involving Peter Parker. Because Miles gave me what I want from Spider-Man that Peter Parker could never give to me the quality I want from Spider-Man in live action, played by Maguire or Andrew or even Tom Holland couldn't deliver the quality of storytelling that Miles gave with his movies. Miles is the best on-screen Spider-Man, in my opinion, in movie form. He's not only the most funniest, he's also the most heroic Spider-Man in movie form, and does the most proactive stuff as Spider-Man. And he's not overly whiny about it. Which is more what I can say for Peter, big screen, on screen, all three interpretations of variants of Peter Parker played by starting with Maguire to Tom Holland. And Andrew Garfield, even, is a disappointment. Even him. I don't want there to be a live-action Miles Morales movie. Because I think Marvel's just going to fuck it up. They're going to make me like him less. They're going to make him more like Peter, like he is in live action. You know, whiny, annoying, and lame. And one-dimensional freak. You know, it's all the three past incarnation of Peter Parker with Andrew and Maguire and Tom Holland all suck. They're flat, one-dimensional freaks of nature that overpowered cartoon characters. They just suck as Spider-Man. That's my thoughts, and that's why Miles is the superior Spider-Man in movie form, for live action or cartoon in movie form. That's why I love Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I give both movies a 10 out of 10. That's my review on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018, and 2022 or 2023 is when Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That's the title. And came out in 2023 or 2021, I think. It was one of those, or the in-between of 2023 and 2021. Could be in between. One of those 3 years. When it came out, I can't remember. I'll put the year in the title of my video, right year. Okay? And hit the comment, subscribe to my video content. Hit the comment section to let me know which of this video and the movie franchise and you're looking forward. Do you have your, and also let me know, have you heard anything about just let me know which of these movies or what my video. And hit the thumbs up to like this video and hit the subscribe button to screw my subscribers. Please, my audience. Good morning, my audience. I'm Jake Allen Graham. Goodbye. That's my review on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse.